Hello. I hope everybody is having an amazing August. I know this summer has flown by and we are coming to the end of it, so get in these last summer days. For some of you watching, I know you're tuning in from warm places, so I guess that doesn't apply to you, but enjoy these days of summer. You know, summer is such a fun time. It's just carefree and much more opportunity for us to just kind of enjoy the sunshine and do things that might be outside of our normal schedule. So I hope that you are all enjoying. I've been having a lot of conversations lately with a variety of people, and the conversation has been surrounding the ideal of walking in our healing. And I thought to myself, you know what? I promised when we were going to do these conversations with Carrie that they were going to be authentic, challenging, and transformative. And I promise you that today, what this conversation is going to be about is definitely going to be authentic, challenging, and transformative. So I hope that you'll join me. I hope that you will share this video if you have the opportunity. Just go ahead and click share right now. Send it to somebody who is on a healing journey or who needs to be on a healing journey. And today, the group of you that I am talking to, specifically, I'm talking to women, but anybody can tune in. And also, I really am talking to those of you who have gone through some real challenging situations. Okay. I'm not talking about like, you know, you weren't able to, um, make the dish that you were trying to make and, something didn't work out with which private school your kids were going to go to. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But what I'm talking about today is those kind of challenges in life that cause a lot of damage, right? I'm talking about childhood trauma. I'm talking about abuse. I'm talking about broken relationships, loss, grief, bad decisions that have led down very difficult roads. And I'm talking about those of you who have gone through some serious ish, if you know what I'm talking, okay? Because what I want us to do today is I want us to wade through some of these like carts of baggage that end up being a part of us as we move on, right? As we get ready to go into a new season, a new stage, a new relationship, a new job, a new career, a new situation. I don't know what it might be, but I really sense that for so many, we are really in a transitional stage, a transitional place. We've talked about how this is a time of reset. This year is a reset year. And I believe that wholeheartedly that that is where we are. And I'm seeing it in so many people, so many sisters that I talk to. And I think that it is absolutely imperative that if we are going to move forward in this reset, if we are going to go to the next level, if we are going to push through and see some things change and happen in our lives, then we have got to address this topic of healing. And this is going to be real practical, real raw, and very authentic today. So if you know somebody, go ahead and click the share button, share this video, and please feel free, chime in the comments. I want us to talk about this. I want to hear what you're thinking. I want to hear if this is hitting a button, striking a nerve, striking a chord, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Let's really get a conversation going about this. I want to talk to you today about three things concerning your healing. Number one, healing is your right. Okay? You have a right to walk in the wholeness of what God intends for your life. You have a right to walk as someone who is not carrying all of these scars, this brokenness, all of this baggage. This is your right. Okay? I want you to understand that whatever has happened in your life, you are not a victim to circumstances. Life happens, difficulties happen, challenges happen, things happen that are beyond what we want to even recognize or give air to today, right? I don't even want to voice some of the things. Some of you have been through some stuff that is not even really worth the conversation. Like, we don't want to have to dredge all of that up because it has been so messy and has been so ugly. But what I want you to understand is, regardless of what has happened in your life, you have the right to heal. You have the right to walk in wholeness. You have the right to walk in a beautiful space where all of those ashes have been turned into beauty in your life. You have a right to heal. Okay, you are worth healing. You're worthy of being whole. Your life has not been determined by your circumstances. All right, if you are a person of faith, you know what the scripture says. He says that he turns all things together for good to those who love him and are called according to his purpose. We also know that scripture says that he gives us beauty for ashes, and a lot of us have a lot of ashes in our lives, but you have a right to heal. You're worth healing. The purpose and the plans of God for your life are so significant, and you are not going to accomplish them in their fullness if you do not heal. You have a right to heal. You are worth healing. The second thing that I want you to know is that it is your responsibility to heal. It is your responsibility to heal. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. Not only is it your right to heal, it is your responsibility to heal. It is no one else's responsibility. It is your responsibility. I know I've mentioned this before. Several years back, I was going through a really hard time. And I mean, chaos. When I say chaos, like, my world was upside down. And there was a whole lot of craziness going on. And I remember I was praying and I was just asking God to change something in my circumstances. And I heard so clearly, the change is in you. Mm, I know. I remember thinking at that moment, okay, I'm not going to get offended. I can handle this, right? But my behavior is not the behavior that is causing all of this chaos, right? So the changes in me, yeah. If there is anything that I have learned over the last few years, it is this: the change has been in me. The change is in you. It is your responsibility to heal. It is not whoever you're showing up into a relationship with. It is not a new corporation, a new job, a new career opportunity. It is no one else's responsibility to heal you. It is not your pastor's responsibility. It is not your therapist's responsibility. It is not your husband's responsibility. It's not your friend's responsibility. It is your responsibility to heal. You're worth healing. You've got to recognize that. You've got to recognize that it's your right to heal, but you also have to recognize that it's your responsibility to heal. You cannot show up in this new phase, this new season of life, a broken, disastrous mess, and expect that something different is going to happen. Because if you show up in this season with the same brokenness, only added upon it from the last season, right? You show up into this new season with that brokenness, you're going to see the cycle repeated all over again. And this is not going to be a reset year for you. It's not. It's your responsibility to heal. I know that can feel a little bit daunting. It can feel a little bit overwhelming. Sometimes you may feel like, I don't even know. How do I start? What do I do about this? I'm going to give you some practical tips today on what I have found to be keys for healing in my own life. But I just want to reiterate today, it is your responsibility to heal. If there are areas in your life that you know and you recognize, like, this is an area of weakness, this insecurity is sabotaging my relationships. This inability for me to trust is killing every opportunity that I face, right? Like, all of these different things that we carry along because of the situations that we have gone through, the abuse, the negativity, whatever it might be. And we hold on to those things and we think that this is just actually a result of what I went through, but we carry these things into the next place, into the next season. And guess what? It sets us up for failure because we've got this lens on our eyes that is pain, that is brokenness, that is, you know, whatever the plethora of baggage is, survival mode. We show up with all of these things leading in our lives and we expect somehow a different result. No, absolutely not. We have got to address those things in our lives, and we've got to learn how to lead, not with the fear of the past, the brokenness of the past, the abuse of the past. We cannot lead anything new in our lives if we are coming from a broken place. We've got to heal, and it's our responsibility to do it. If you want to see change in your life, you're going to have to take on the responsibility of healing. You're the only one that can make that happen. The change is in you. Man, when I started to understand what that meant for my own life, like, okay, Carrie, the change is in you. If you continue to enable these kind of situations in your life, if you continue to tolerate things in your life that are not for your best, that don't reflect the glory of God in your life, that don't reflect love, that don't reflect peace, if you continue to enable this, you are as much a part of all of this brokenness as the situation and the circumstances around you that seem to be the things. Listen, you are not a victim. I'm not a victim. We are not victims. We are showing up today and we are responsible for our own healing. I was just saying to someone today, and it's completely a different topic, but or concerning a different topic, but it reminded me of this idea of how we lead, how we self lead in life, right? No one else, people are going to lead you, and you can be a follower and you can lead, but every change, every significant change that happens in your life is going to require you to lead yourself. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anybody else. So, what I was saying was, I had to make a decision that in a specific situation, and now it has applied to many situations, that I was not going to lead with fear. I was going to lead with love, right? There was a situation that I was showing up to, and I was imagining all of the worst case scenarios that could happen. I was thinking to myself, like, oh, I don't want to go here, and I don't want there to be a scene. I don't want there to be conflict. I don't want there to be a confrontation. I'm thinking of all of these ways, and how will I respond? This is going on in my head because a lot goes on in my head. So I'm driving up to this situation, and this is how I'm leading. And I heard as clear as day, Carrie, are you going to lead with fear, or are you going to lead with love? Because the whole reason that you're coming, the whole reason that you're showing up today is because the love that is in your heart for this individual. So are you going to show up today and lead with fear? Because if you lead with fear, you might as well just expect for the outcome to be whatever that negative thing, that false reality, that idea that you've already come up with. Or you can just go and you can lead with love and know that you can walk in confidence because you come with a heart that's full of good intention, right? And so, even in our healing, I want to just, emphasize to you, if you want to go into a new season of reset, if you want to go into this place of turnaround where things, shift from that negative season that you're coming out of, and you begin to walk in newness, you begin to walk in wholeness, you're going to have to take responsibility for your healing, and you're going to have to start leading with that. You're going to have to start leading with wholeness. You can't continue to go into a new season and lead with insecurity. You can't expect to go into a new relationship and lead with mistrust. You can't expect to go into something that is an open door and an opportunity that you have been longing for and go in leading with bitterness and resentment. You can't do it. It doesn't make sense. You're going to lead in with the same baggage from the past, and guess what? You're going to get the same results. But if you want to begin to walk in healing and you want to begin to walk in the fullness of what God has for you in this next season, listen, I believe that things that happen in our life, they happen in ebbs and flows, right? Like sometimes, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but if you're going through a difficulty, you're going through a stressful situation, you're going through hardship, whatever, you are going to recognize that there are a whole lot of other people going through similar situations. Like it might not be exactly what you're going through, but I feel like the seasons of our lives, they kind of ebb and flow. And what I'm noticing now is that we are in this ebb and flow of newness, of reset, of open doors, of new opportunities. It's like the shift of the season that's happening, right? And if you want to come into this new season and you don't want to miss anything, you've got to lead with healing. You've got to lead with hope. You've got to lead with peace. You've got to lead with confidence and trust and love. You can't lead with the things of the past. And this is your responsibility. Like I said, it's not the responsibility of your pastor or even your therapist. They can give you tools, but you're the one who has to implement whatever it is that's necessary in your life. Listen, some of you struggle so badly with anxiety. Every situation that you go into, you lead first with fear. And then you wonder why the situation is stressful because you're leading with that thing. You're already going ahead and you're thinking of every negative thing that could possibly happen, imagining these things, and you lead with that. And so you come into a situation, an anxious mess, already expecting a negative outcome, and you self-sabotage. You mess the whole thing up for yourself. You distance yourself, you push people away, you've got a negative attitude, negative energy. And it's all because of something that has happened in your past. Yes, listen, some of us have been through some stuff. It's valid. The brokenness is valid. I get it. But you have a responsibility. If you don't want to continue to stay in that place, you've got to start making decisions that are going to move you forward in healing, move you forward in wholeness. Forget the things of the past, forget the former things. Press on to the mark of the high calling of Christ Jesus. That's what scripture says, right? So not only is it your right to heal, it's your responsibility to heal. And this is the other thing I want you to know. It is your reward. Healing is your reward. A new job, a new relationship, a new family situation. That is not the reward. The reward is that you show up whole, that you show up in peace, that you show up leading with the authenticity of who you were created to be. Listen, I wish I could just see like a snapshot of so many of you prior to the trauma, prior to the abuse, prior to the rape, prior to the downfall, prior to that decision that caused everything in your life to go haywire. That place of authenticity, that place where you are walking just beautifully at peace and who God created you to be. That's your reward. And you can achieve that. You can attain that if you begin to be very intentional and understand that the reward is not even something exterior or external. The reward is you showing up as the person that God created you to be, walking in the fullness of that beautiful personality that you have, your dreams, your desires, your creativity, your humor, your nurturing spirit, your carefree living, all of those things that have kind of gone to the wayside, that have been put on the back burner. Listen, I believe there's so many jewels inside of you that are waiting to be unearthed. They have been packed down with so much stuff, so many burdens, so much care, so much worry. And I want to see those things unearthed in you. And I believe that healing is key to this process of all of those jewels coming to the top, right? I want to see you achieve your purpose. I want to see you walk in the fullness of everything that God has for you. I want to see the desires of your heart fulfilled. But you've got to heal. And healing is not only your right, it's not only your responsibility, but that healing is your final reward. It is a beautiful thing to begin to face situations that you have faced before, that you have faced with such anxiety, so much fear, and then you face them and you're just like, wow, I'm not feeling the same thing that I felt before. I'm not showing up and I'm not immediately cutting my feet out from underneath of me as soon as I have a new opportunity, right? I'm not showing up and immediately pushing people away. I'm showing up authentically. I'm showing up because I desire connection. I'm showing up because I'm leading with joy and I'm leading with love and I'm leading with the desires of my heart being fulfilled, right? So healing is your right. Healing is your responsibility. Nobody else's. The change is in you. Don't wait for your circumstances to change for healing to start to take place. You'll be waiting a long time because there's always going to be something going on that can impact that healing in your life. The change is in you. Healing is your responsibility, and healing is your reward. Okay, three practical applications for you in this situation. First, what I want you to do is I want you to increase your self awareness. Listen, if you are not aware of your triggers, of your bad habits, of your toxic behaviors, this is not going to work. Some of you need to open your eyes and you need to look in the mirror. You need to record yourself talking. I was talking to a friend yesterday and she was rattling off a situation. And I was just looking at her with full care, no judgment, love. And she is rattling off. And I just was like listening, listening. And then all of a sudden she was like, wow, I sound terrible. Like I sound like a mess. Like I've got to get a grip. I've got to pull my life together. I didn't have to say a word, right? Record yourself. Listen to some of you. Listen to the negativity that is seeping out of every single thing that you say. Take a good look in the mirror. And maybe you need to ask somebody to put a mirror up in front of you. Maybe you need to talk to somebody. Listen, you've got to be self aware. We're too old to not be aware of what our triggers are and what our downfalls are and what our weaknesses are. Okay? You have got to increase your self awareness if healing is going to take place in your life. Otherwise, you're going to have all these blinders on. Nothing's wrong with you. You're a victim to your circumstances. If that's you, you might as well just check out because this is not going to work. It's not going to work. You have got to be self aware. You have got to understand how you sabotage every situation that comes your way, every new thing, every open door, every opportunity, every love, every relationship, whatever it is. You've got to be self aware. Listen, if you've got some mental health challenges, address them. There's no shame. There's no shame. You have the ability to move forward. Whatever tools you need to implement, whatever needs to happen, whatever support you need, go ahead and get it. Stop being in denial. Stop closing the door thinking, no, I'm not even going to. Listen, a lot of you know in the back of your head what your issues are, and you just refuse to address them. You have got to increase your self awareness. Understand there, listen, there is no condemnation, there is no shame. I already said that. There is no fault in recognizing where your weaknesses are. Okay, like let's get past that. There's no way that any one of us is going to change if we don't recognize what needs to change. There's no way your life is going to look differently if you can't first face the facts of what got you here in the first place. I know it's hard, but you know, toughen up. Face it. I mean, I am not judging. I'm not saying it's easy. The healing process is messy and it is difficult. Facing those things in you that cause you to make the decisions that you make, yeah, that's not easy, but you can do it. We can do it. I'm not telling you anything that I'm not experiencing myself or that I haven't gone through myself. And the truth is that with healing, you can think that you have made progress, that you've moved forward in healing, and you don't even know that there's something there until you're in a new situation and it like hits a chord. It like hits a nerve and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that this had not been addressed. Wow, I didn't even see this coming. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't never expected myself to respond this way, right? Because healing is a process, and some of these things, it's not like you can just tackle every single thing in the privacy of your, whatever your process is, like therapy, church, faith, prayer, Bible reading, meditation, yoga. I don't know what it is. There's no way that you can address every single issue in your life completely alone. You're going to have to get out there and start living. And once you start living, some of those things are going to be like, oh, like pinched, hit. And then you're going to be like, oh, so there's that. That hasn't healed yet. So now what am I going to do? Well, first of all, I'm going to be aware of it. And I'm going to understand that this is an area that needs some work. And I am not going to bleed all of that broken area onto anyone else because healing is my responsibility. Okay. So, number one, I need you to increase your self awareness. If you know that you've got some toxic behaviors, cut it out. Cut it out. Figure it out. Look it up. Do some research. Get a book. Read. Talk to some people. Get the help that you need. Recognize those things in yourself that do not serve you well. Okay, there's no shame in that. Let's do this thing. If we're going to be better, if we're going to move forward, we've got to be aware of those things in us that don't serve us, that are not a part of the whole healed version of who God created you to be. Okay, so increase your self awareness. Number one, increase your self awareness. Go look in that mirror. I got a mirror right behind me. Look in the mirror. Recognize those things. When somebody says something to you, don't just, shake it off or think that somebody's attacking you or judging you or whatever. Listen, we've got to stop being so defensive, really, truly. And I'm not talking about people who are just judgmental and critical and want to get up all in your business and they think their stuff doesn't stink. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about authentic people in your life. And if you don't have people in your life, here's another thing. If you don't have people in your life who are willing to say something to you about something that they see, you need to find a new crew. Sorry, but being surrounded by yes people will get you into a whole bunch of hot water. You surround yourself with all people who just think that you're the bomb and that you don't have any weaknesses. There's nothing that you do wrong. They're just going to, pump you up, cheer you on, no matter what. Now, I'm not saying you don't need people to cheer you on. I have one girlfriend who says, Carrie, you need better friends. If people aren't telling you this good thing about you, then you need better friends. So I'm not saying you don't need those friends, but what you also need is you also need some people who are going to call you out when they see something that is destructive in your life, right? Okay. So that leads me to the second practical application. So the first one is increase your self-awareness. The second one is to identify your core circle. Okay. A lot of you, we've been having these conversations and there have been like these topics that are just so obviously a mess, right? Don't have those conversations with anyone in your new circle. Don't have those conversations at the job, at that new position or that new opportunity. Don't have those conversations with that new boo in your life. Okay. If you are moving forward, those crazy things from the past, those things that are coming up in self awareness, you need to identify your core circle of where you can get those things out, where you can process those, whatever that is, whatever that middle place is, whoever that friend is that you've got to call and say, listen, this is what I'm feeling right now. I recognize that this is something in me. It's not anybody else's problem. This is something that is coming up as a trigger from my past, something that is like, I know this is a bad, destructive response. So I need to tell you about it first. I need you to listen and hear me out. You've got to identify that core circle in your life. Okay, those people who are going to hear you and they're not going to judge you. They're not going to, push you away, push you down, criticize you, act like, you're crazy is too much. It's not too much. Okay, I mean, it might be too much, but it's okay because we all have a little bit of too much in us, right? But what we want to do is we want to find that safe place where we can heal and be supported. Okay, so increase your self awareness, identify your core circle. Who is going to support you? Who is open to you being, able to call them up and say, hey, I am dealing with this right now. I know that this is craziness. I know I sound crazy. I know this doesn't make any sense. I know this is healthy. I know this response is not good. I know that where I'm about to, blow my top off. I know this can't happen. I know I can't lead with this, but I need to let it out. So identify your core circle, somebody who is going to support you, pray with you, lift you up, lead you in a good direction. By the way, coaching, do you need a coach? If you need a coach, if you need somebody to hold your hand through the reset process to lead you, guide you, pump you up, direct you, give you solid core advice, visit my website, carrieannclark.com. But identify your core circle, okay? So increase your self-awareness, identify your core circle, and implement a lifestyle of generosity and grace. Listen, you know what you've been through. And like I said, some of you have really been through some stuff. And it's no doubt, there's absolutely no question as to the depth of brokenness that some of you have had to survive through. You've been in survival mode for so long that you can't even imagine what the next season looks like. You can't even imagine not having to be in that place of survival, worrying about the next dangerous thing that's ahead, worrying about when the shoe's going to drop, when the axe is going to fall, when it's all going to blow up, when it's going to go wrong, when somebody's going to betray you, when somebody's going to let you down, when somebody's going to reject you, when somebody's going to abandon you. I get it. I get it. Nobody is doubting what you've been through. And the truth of the matter is we go through stuff and it leaves a residue. It absolutely does. Some of you have been brainwashed. You've been so manipulated in your mind that you're believing these stories about your reality that aren't even close to being true. It's damaging. So we're not doubting that at all. This process can be really difficult, but it's possible. And you're the one who has the power to do it. That's the beautiful thing. It doesn't depend on anybody else. You don't have to wait for somebody else to show up. You don't have to wait for, some, miraculous intervention. You can start doing what is needed today to walk in healing. You can start leading yourself with healing. You absolutely can. With the help of the Holy Spirit, listen, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Nothing is impossible for those who believe. So, what I want to see you do is I want you to increase self awareness. I want you to implement or identify your core circle, and I want you to implement a lifestyle of generosity and grace. I want you to be generous to yourself. I want you to offer so much grace to yourself. When you identify those things in you that are just really unhealthy, offer yourself grace. Love on yourself. Understand that those have come as a result, as a response to something that happened in your life that was not good. And that has now, as a result, you have these things that need to be healed. And offer yourself grace. Love on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Speak well of yourself. Do something for yourself that is going to be generous. I had one friend who used to say to me all the time, like, what Carrie, when is Carrie going to fight for Carrie? Carrie goes to bat for Tom, Dick, and Harry. Fighting for anybody. I will fight for anybody. Like, not fight, because I've never fought, but you know what I'm saying. But she would say to me, Carrie, when are you going to show up for Carrie? When are you going to grow Carrie's desires and dreams? When are you going to defend Carrie? Listen, my friend, you are valuable and you are worth healing. You are worth this next beautiful season of your life. But you got to make some changes. You can't show up in this new place with all of that old crap. You can't do it. And I want to cheer you on. I want you to come along with me. Listen, I don't care what it is that you're carrying. I don't care how many bad behaviors, mindsets, habits. I don't care how much you have. You can lay it down. I don't care how negative your outlook is. I don't care how lacking your faith is. I don't care how insecure you are. I don't care how crazy you sound. You can change. You have everything that you have need of on the inside of you with the help of the Holy Spirit to make a change, to pivot, and to shift into a new season that is beyond your imagination. There is all of that goodness waiting for you. I'm telling you, it is. But the change is in you, and healing has to come. So, if you are willing to get on this whole girl heal journey with me, heal, my sister, heal. Listen, you have wasted 30 years, 40 years dealing with the repercussions of circumstances beyond your control. At some point, it's time to break out of it. Because I'm telling you that a lot of those circumstances, they're not just happenstance, okay? I know life happens. But what we don't realize sometimes is that when we have broken areas and unhealed parts in our lives, we choose those things that are familiar to us. And a lot of you, a lot of us, we continue to choose one bad situation after another because it's familiar. It seems like the right thing to do. You may not even know it. It's like to somebody else, it might look ridiculous, but to you, it feels so familiar that you're going to choose that bad thing over and over again because you are so used to being in these toxic cycles. So we got to break free. We got to move forward. We got to heal and we've got to lead with healing. Don't you show up to that new place that has just presented itself to you with all that crazy baggage from behind. Don't show up with it. Leave it at home, leave it in the trunk, leave it in the car. I don't care where it is. Maybe you haven't dealt with all of the baggage, but don't bring it with you to the new place. Okay. And you can do that by becoming self aware, identifying your core circle, and leading yourself with generosity and grace. Girl, you got this. We've got this. I'm really proud of the work that you've done. So many of you I've talked to, and I am literally like, I tell you that I'm proud of you, but I don't know if you really understand how proud I am of you. Making change is difficult, especially when you've been doing the same thing for so long. Opening your eyes to things and looking at things in a different way. Do you realize how much people hate change? I mean, this is a topic of conversation. You go into any organization, any church, any business, any corporation, and you try to implement change, people are going to kick and fight. But some of you are making such incredible changes in your life, and I just want you to know that I'm cheering you on and I'm super proud of you. So let's keep going. Let's heal, and let's not put this lack of healing, these broken places, on anybody else. It's nobody else's job to fix you. It's nobody else's job to heal you. You don't want to show up in that new place expecting that everyone is going to cater to all of your broken places. No, it's your responsibility to take care of those broken places. It is. Sorry. Otherwise, you're just going to get the same results over and over again. All right. So I'm rooting for you. If you want to talk further, you can reach out on my website, carrieannclark.com. If you want somebody to walk along this journey with you, I'm here to do that for you. And, leave a comment below. Share this with somebody who might be going through and know that you're not doing it alone. I believe in you, and I'm really excited about what the future holds for you because I see good things ahead. But you got to embrace it. Remember, it takes participation. All right, awesome. Have a great one, and I'll talk to you soon.